What if I told you if you changed a few settings in the Audyssey app, it could greatly increase the sound quality in your home theater? Well, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do just that by pulling back the curtain on Audyssey. Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Youthman. A few months ago, I was talking with a friend of mine, Joe from Joe and Tell, and we were talking about Audyssey, and he asked me if I just let Audyssey run and do its thing and basically try to correct from all frequencies, from 20 hertz all the way to 20,000 hertz. And I told him, yes, that's pretty much what I do. And then I'll go into the Audyssey and I'll make some adjustments, typically with crossovers. I'll use my SPL meter to level match my speakers and make sure those are correct. So I'll make some small tweaks, but I pretty much let Audyssey determine what it needs to correct for in my room. Well, during that conversation, he recommended that I limit what Audyssey actually tries to correct for. In other words, the frequency range, instead of it being from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz, to kind of limit that and apply what is known as a curtain. And so in this video, I'm going to walk you step by step on how to do that so that you can try on your own to see if it makes an impact in your home theater. Now, before I show you how to do it, I'll just let you know ahead of time that I tried it with mine and I was able to easily switch back and forth between with a curtain and without a curtain, and my ears prefer it now with a curtain. I actually like how my speakers sound without the higher frequencies being filtered. So enough talking, let me show you how it's done inside the Audyssey app. Okay, so here we are inside the Audyssey Multi-EQ editor. This can be purchased from the App Store as well as the Google Play Store. I think it's about $20, but it's well worth the price. It gives you a lot of flexibility that you cannot do inside the AVR or processor. So here you can see I've already previously run Audyssey 4 times. We've got 3 of them that I did with my Marantz AV7705, but I also have a new one that I recently did with the SR8015 that I'm currently reviewing. So with the first Audyssey calibration with the SR8015, I just saved it as default settings. Now I don't want to make any changes to the default settings, but instead I want to copy that, and then we're going to make some changes to the copy. So in order to do that, we're going to click Edit. We're going to select the SR8015 at the bottom, and then we're going to click the top left button. Looks like 2 little squares with a plus inside of it. If I click that, it will actually duplicate that. So you can see at the bottom right, it now says SR8015 default settings copy 1. So the first thing we want to do is rename that. So we'll click Edit at the top right, and then we'll click the text below the that Audyssey correction there. And then we're going to just delete this title, and we're going to call it SR8015 with 500 hertz curtain. And we'll click Done. And once again, up at the top right, we'll just click Done. So now you can see we have an SR8015 with default settings and a clone of that to the right of it, but we've just named it with a 500 hertz curtain. So now let's go in and actually apply that curtain to that Audyssey curve. So the way we do that is we're just going to click once on the SR8015 with 500 curtain, and that's going to bring up those settings. So here you can see we've got a lot of different things that you can change in the Audyssey app. You can set your crossovers, you can apply a curve, but what we're going to focus on in this video is the next to the last option, the multi-EQ filter frequency range. So let's go ahead and click on it. And so here we can see the full range that Audyssey is trying to correct. So over the far left, we have 20 hertz, which is a really low frequency. And then over to your far right are your really high frequencies, which is 20,000 hertz. So up at the top right, you can see that front is selected. So these are my front 2 speakers. So we're going to click and drag this little dotted line over here, and we're going to slide it all the way to the left until we get to 500 hertz. Now you'll need to play around to figure out which setting is best for your room. Most people recommend anywhere between, say, 300 hertz up to 500 hertz. So I'm just going to start with 500 hertz for this demonstration. So now we need to go through each one of these sets of speakers. We'll do the same thing for the center channel. We'll do the same for the surround, surround back, my front Atmos speakers, and then my rear Atmos speakers. Now if we select the subwoofer, you'll see Audyssey has already applied a curtain at 250 Hertz. So let's go ahead and exit out of this. So we do that by clicking on the Done at the top left. And now we need to send these settings to the AVR. And to do that, we're going to click this top left button that looks like a square with an up arrow. We're going to select the first option, Send to AV Receiver. And we're going to select the Marantz SR8015. Are we sure? Absolutely. So we're going to hit Send. Now here's one great feature that I really like about the new Denon and Marantz 2020 AVRs and processors. The new Denon and Marantz AVRs and processors allow you to save up to 2 presets. And so you can make changes to things like crossovers, you can apply a curtain like we did here, and easily be able to switch back and forth between those options in the AV receiver. So we're going to save the one with the curtain to preset 2, so we'll select that. Now this typically takes about a minute or 2, so I'll go ahead and fast forward this part so that we can get to the final result. All right, the transfer has been complete, so we'll click OK. And we're going to click Done at the top left. Going to click Done at the top right. So now we're back to the main menu. So now we want to send the default settings to the receiver, and we're going to save that as preset 1. So we'll go through the same process. We'll click the SR8015 default settings. Then we'll click on the top left button. We'll choose Send to AV Receiver. Click the Marantz SR8015 and choose Send. And now instead of choosing the preset 2, we're going to select preset 1. And once again, this will take a few moments, so I'll go ahead and fast forward this portion of the video. Okay, so we're finished here, so we'll click OK. Okay, so now that we have the SR8015 default settings, Audyssey curve saved to preset 1, and the SR8015 with the 500 Hertz curtain, Audyssey curve saved as preset 2, we can go ahead and exit the Audyssey app. So as you can see, it's really simple to add a curtain to Audyssey to limit what it's trying to correct for in your room. Now once again, you may want to try 400 Hertz or you may want to try 300 Hertz. Typically, from what I've done some research on, most people are going to choose somewhere between 300 to 500 Hertz. That's usually a good starting point for Audyssey and applying that curtain. So I did some A/B testing of with the curtain and without a curtain in my room, and I definitely prefer with the curtain applied. Basically, we're telling Audyssey, don't worry about the upper frequencies. Leave my speakers alone, leave the AVR alone. Don't try to kind of filter that and EQ that. Just handle the frequencies from 500 Hertz and below. And I like that a lot better. What I heard was more clarity, definitely more of the top end. It's almost like Audyssey looked at my clip speakers, which tend to be on the bright side anyway, and very detailed, and Audyssey determined that those higher frequencies really need to be trimmed off some. And my ears prefers not to have that trimmed off. And so when I was listening to this DTS demo disc, there was one in particular that I really liked, just had a really good Atmos track, and it was Hellboy, it was the Golden Army. And so in this scene, this guy is pulling out this blade and he's swinging it around. You've got rain falling from the top. And I could just hear a lot more detail and just more of a brightness and more clarity when I had the curtain applied, as opposed to just letting Audyssey, you know, kind of make all the adjustments it wants to from 20 Hertz all the way up to 20,000 Hertz. And so I would just recommend, if you've got the Audyssey app, it's not going to cost you anything. At least give it a try. All you have to do is go into the Audyssey app, follow through those step-by-step instructions. It's really simple. And then just switch back and forth between with the curtain and without a curtain. Now, one thing that made it really easy for me is I have the SR8015 from Marantz in for review. And as I showed in the video, it allowed me to save it as preset 1 and preset 2. And so with the Marantz, all I have to do is grab the remote, hit the option button on the remote, and then come down to speaker preset, and then select either preset 1 or preset 2, and it loads that Audyssey configuration. Now, if you do not have a Marantz or Denon 2020 AVR or a processor, you're just going to need to go into the Audyssey app and load that, that Audyssey preset, and then download that into your AVR or processor like I showed you in the video. You just won't be able to easily switch back and forth like I was with the preset 1 and preset 2. So that definitely made it a lot more handy when doing this video. And so the good thing is, if you have the Audyssey app, it won't cost you anything to try this out in your setup to see if it makes a difference and just to see which one your ears prefers. Now, I would definitely try some different ones. Try 500 hertz, try 400 hertz, and maybe even try 300 hertz. That seems to be the kind of go-to frequencies that you'll set for the curtain in Audyssey. But give each one of those a try and see what your ears prefer. And if you don't have Audyssey app, I definitely would recommend picking that up. It's like 20 bucks, but it gives you a lot of flexibility. And I know for me as a content creator and reviewer, it makes it really nice because I can leave my setup, you know, my Audyssey calibration file alone, run a new one when I have a new AVR in or a new processor in to review. And then when I go back to my current setup, you know, the speakers and the amplifiers and the AVRs and the processors that I own, when I go back to my setup, all I have to do is load that Audyssey profile, and then I'm back in business. I don't have to rerun Audyssey every time I switch out components. Well, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. And as always, you guys be blessed, and we will catch you in the next video.